Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for your time today. We are really excited. Dave Costenaro and I are really excited to provide a contribution out to the ecosystem. This came from many conversations that I had with many SPs around the world. And there were some recurring themes in those conversations. And one of the main messages that I got out of these conversations was that the building a business case for Filecoin is really hard. It takes a long time. There's a lot of things in it. There's a lot of things to know. Some models out there, online models, almost require like a computer science and token economics PhD to work. And some are like what Angelo has is really good and directionally correct, but needs a little more build out to it, right? So Dave and I got together and created a template. So I want to make sure that we understand that this is a template. It is not meant for you to take it and that is what your business looks like, right? It's a template that you take, you put in your own costs, your revenue, all of those things. But hopefully it helps you with some of the hard work of building out what views do I need, where do my expenses go, all of that kind of stuff. This will be a resource that we are making available, Dave and I are making available in the DSA. As soon as it is posted on the DSA Decentralized Storage Alliance, it will be sent out to you all and you can take a look at it. So we will, I think at this point, just get underway. Dave, do you want to start walking us through this? And I'll try to keep my mouth shut, but you know me, I can't help myself. I'll be jumping in with questions and comments. So, but from here, you can go ahead and show us what we built here.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'll take the screen share over.
Please.
Rock and roll. Right. Are we live here?
We are, you got it.
Right. Okay. So I got to get some stuff out of the way so I can read. Hang on. SP business model overview. So as Mara said, we wanted to put a spreadsheet together to kind of give kind of that level of granularity and clarity. So number one, and don't get stuck reading through this spreadsheet yet. I just have some points that I want to point out here. And so I'll build out this slide. Want to walk through some high level stuff about the spreadsheet model that we built. And then we'll dive into a demo to kind of look through some stuff. But number one, spreadsheet was chosen just for transparency, accessibility, and simplicity. So we're on Google Sheets. We're going to publish this as a read-only file. And like Mara said, like we want you to take this and adjust it for yourself. So the distribution will just be go to File, make a copy. Or if you want to do it in Excel, go to File, download Excel. The third point I wanted to point out here is that we're doing things in a 7-year time frame. That's how we set up the template. And we have a quarterly granularity. So a lot of people that we talked to in the ecosystem, they had an annual view, they maybe had a daily view. You can do things hourly or by epoch. Like there's a middle ground between the complexity that you need to actually be useful and like put all the first order effects into this business model, or wrapping it up into something that doesn't have that granularity, but still being simple enough.
And Dave, I'm just going to jump in right there real quick. And the reason that it's 7 years is that it is really important for us as we are looking at our businesses to understand that obviously our technology has a life on it. And whether it's a 3-year life, a 5-year life, a 7-year life, I think we need to plan for what it looks like to replace or do technology refreshes along the way. So that's why we made it 7 years, is so you can plan and see what a technology refresh looks like for your business. Sorry, back
Right.
to
No, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Because if you want to do a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan, you can do that. And if you want to, copy and paste the formulas and extend it out longer, you can do that. But yeah, 7 years is what we thought coming out of the gate. Fourth note, user inputs are green shaded cells. So all of the other values are calculated, and we tried to stick with very straightforward formulas so that the build out, we're not using any like nested loops and crazy functions and functions inside functions. We're trying to be as straightforward as possible so that it's easy to understand, and you can take it and add the complexity or remove the complexity that works best for your business plan. The only other color coding in the model is that fill value flows are shaded in blue up there, and then the fiat value flows, so by default in US dollars, are in purple. So there's some exchange rates that you can change around with. So all the green stuff are things that you need to build out, and then the rest is calculated. The flow is that the logic generally flows downward in the rows with this bottom-up set of calculations, starting with how much storage power you want to input for your system growth over time. And so that's this line item here. We'll dig into this in a minute, but you say, hey, I want to have this many PIBs of raw byte storage, and then all of the other things, follow on from that. How much collateral will you need? How much equipment will you need? How much rent are you going to pay for that equipment? How much electricity will you use for that equipment? So all those things kind of build out as you go forward. There are 4 main modules or tabs in this spreadsheet. And so just zooming out from the high level view, the model tab is kind of where all the action is. And so you can see, again, we've got these 7 years of quarters, all these columns built out. And then from top to bottom, that logical flow, like I said, has the buildup till you get down at the bottom, and there's kind of this cash flow summary and reconciliation. So into that, we're kind of calling out to a separate module or tab for service revenues. So these are all the things for charging for storage, or the things that were talked about early on the call. Are you doing business development as a service? Are you doing download, egress, CDN stuff as a service? So those revenues will come in. They're kind of abstracted away on this tab, and they will come in as a line item here to go into your business model. Similarly, the costs are abstracted away, so you can get the detail that you need for your costs. And there's a section for capital costs or equipment costs, and a separate section for operating costs, those ongoing operating costs. Finally, what you don't have in a typical Web 2 data storage data center business case is these interactions with the Filecoin network. So there's a fill detail tab where the network rates for your block reward subsidies, your collateral pledge amounts, and then the exchange rate for fill to USD are porting in and used on the model tab. So those assumptions, you can, we have an API script in the Google spreadsheet that will call out and populate the current values for those things. And then you can add and adjust scenarios, change the growth rates, condition those to what you want for the scenario that you're using, and then import those costs and details. Finally, once you've got those 4 modules built out, you can then create views, all the views that you want, right? Like you might want to look at things on a daily basis, compile things up in annual, pull certain things out. So we've created some common ones that we've seen. One is a P&L view, and so Lucas Bresser was instrumental in he kind of made the first version of this when we were talking with him on this, and so we put that together and built it out. So this gives clarity when you're building a business case for an investor. They might want to see EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. They might want to see EBIT. They might want to see different ratios, your gross margins, your profits. So these are valuable tools for the investing and business case. Putting that into a template that you can kind of then move around. We sum it up into annual values. There's also a template for sensitivity analysis. If you want to do a parameter sweep through different assumptions of what's the Filecoin price going to be, or what is my leverage ratio, or how fast or how quickly will Phil Plus, change the block rewards, and how will those change over time? You can do parameter sweeps and kind of look at your ROI or whatever parameter you want in that case. The last thing I'll say before we just jump in is that be on the lookout for these pop-up reference notes. So we tried to take knowledge and guidelines that the community had built up, some benchmarks, and put them in, and so that it wasn't too complex, to kind of abstract it behind the scenes. If there's these black tags in the corner of a tab, you can hover over those and it will pop up and describe to you, hey, for storage equipment on a dollar per tib basis or whatever, what is the range that we're looking at? And then you can adjust up or down based on the notes, like, hey, am I in a high energy cost region, or am I in a low equipment cost region, or do I already own these things and I don't need to pay for them? So those are the kinds of things that we're looking at. So let's jump into a demo. Here's the spreadsheet itself. Let me hide that and zoom in a little bit so we can see. So like we were saying, and Marin and Reporter and folks, keep me honest on time here, and jump in with any questions. We start out 5 minutes. Thank you. The raw storage power, you put in there here. So in this scenario, you're growing it by 0.25 pibs per quarter, and you're getting up, you keep on growing till you get to 5 pibs at the end of year 4, and then you kind of taper off and you hover there. So how long is the equipment going to last before you need a refresh? Those types of things are calculated in. How much of the storage is going to be Phil Plus? Do you need redundancy? A factor of 2. So you got 2 copies, one primary and one backup, meaning that for 0.25 pibs, you're going to need 0.56 pibs of actual equipment, 0.25 pibs of raw byte power at a 90% utilization rate, and 2 copies, you're going to need 0.56 pibs of actual equipment.
Just Dave, jumping in there real quick, utilization factor is something that we find to be really, really important. We can assume that 100%, but there's very few people who operate compute and storage equipment who want to be at 100% all the time. Typically, you're going to be somewhere below that. In my many years of working at storage providers, we would we'd get our first alert around 70%, and then we would max out at 85%. So that gave us a 15% range to work within to make sure that we had more capacity ordered. And it's something that really needs to be a part of the costs of your business that you're incorporating.
Absolutely. So Phil Plus will show your QAP. That's what your block rewards and your collateral are paid out on. This again is the services revenue tab coming in from another tab, which we'll look at in a second. So this is your total revenue coming in from services. Capital costs and operating costs coming in from another tab. Those are negative since they're costs. Lending, do you need to take out a loan? And so we have this looking backwards. You'll get your principal. Do you need a Filecoin loan, or do you need a fiat loan? And we'll calculate the loan payments. There's an interest rate. The loan payments will look at that, and they will move it out over your term. So if you got a 1.5-year payback, you're going to be paying those loans off. We'll look at the graph at the bottom in a second. It'll be more helpful. Filecoin collateral, you put down the pledge. When the sector ends, you get pledge back, and we're assuming that you pledge that back in to renew a sector after the lifetime of those sectors. There are some slashing penalties. We're looking at network averages. You can use your own averages from historic to plug those in, and you get a fiat denominated value flow for all those collaterals. Same thing with block rewards. You get your block rewards. Some 25% are vested to you immediately. The other 75% go in over 180 days or 2 quarters. And then we're tracking what is actually yours, what's vested to you, and then you've got that as a revenue stream. Filecoin also has gas fees, transaction fees, fee costs. Those again are network averages right now, and you can adjust those on your own. We have a dollar exchange rate for Phil, and then you have your balance over time. We have that cumulative balance. You want to keep that positive. If it drops negative, you're going to want to go back up here and take a loan out and get more Filecoin loan so that you can keep that Phil balance positive. Let me just show that real quick. It's kind of a useful. So say we don't take these loans. Let's see down here. See, we're going to drop into cumulative Filecoin token negative. So let me undo that. Control Z. All right, keeping going. The business case is down here. All the purple lines from up above, these are the cost components that go into this nice nifty graph. And you can see that, for somebody who's adding the green bars of raw power, this black line shows your total raw power up to 5 pibs. And then here are your cash flows, your value flows, bright purple loan principal that you receive, and then you're paying off those loans in the dark purple on the cost side. You're getting revenue from block rewards that are black and services revenue that are orange, and you're paying blue collateral. So you can see a lot of this is a financing play with those purple loans and timing that, and then getting the, just being transparent about what value flows are happening. So real quick, and I know we're running out of time here, the services revenue is highlighted here where you can put in your assumptions. What are you getting paid on a per month, per TIB basis? How many PIBs do you have? That's coming in from the model tab. There are other things like if you're serving CDN services, you're going to charge 8 cents per gigabyte transferred, and how much data are you transferring? So those are assumptions you make, and those all translate into the actual revenue line items in purple. And so that's kind of the build out there. You got assumptions, then you're carrying those assumptions out over the 7 years, and then translating those into dollars over the 7 years. And that's kind of the same template of logic flow for the services revenue, for the capital costs, and for the operating costs. I'll skip real quickly. Well, go ahead, Mara.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, just as we run out of time here, one of the things that we are looking for is for people to take this and put your costs into it and actually use it and provide us feedback. We've had some folks doing that. We've taken the feedback, we've made adjustments, but take it and actually use it and see what is useful, what isn't useful, provide that feedback. We are also looking for anybody who is willing to share their model with us, not because we want to share it, but just because it helps us provide better boundaries for all those little black tabs that we have in terms of, hey, this is the range of what's actually happening out there in the marketplace. So use it, provide feedback. If you are comfortable, provide the model back to us so we can learn and help others understand what the finances look like.
Porter, you're on mute.
On mute. You guys know how to find Mara and Dave if you have more questions. But
Yep.
To quickly put a bow on all this, I want to go back to where we started. We started with me kind of sharing my own thoughts and opinions on why I'm more optimistic on our community now more than ever. And hopefully after today's presentations, you can see a sense as to why. I think the general theme that you see across all these presentations is the path to profitability. We started off with Decent on how they see their own path to profitability through scale. We learned from DESPA on how they're helping Asia Pac community storage providers transition from CC to DC. We heard from Telmex on how S3 API can expedite data onboarding through enterprise clients. We heard from Nathan on how infrastructure as a service opens up an entirely new type of storage provider, one that's focused on business, less on technical. And we heard from Steel Dome on how Web 2.5 solutions can be the gateway to expanding our enterprise reach. Ghost Drive on how enterprise UI with clean interactions with doing self-service data storage onto Filecoin can transform just ease of use and adaptability as we go after new client bases. We also heard from Mara and Dave here finally on how you can create your own path to profitability, whether you're using some of the services that were highlighted today or just trying to map out your existing operations. All these things in aggregate are showing you a new way forward to make your business work for you. Again, if we can do this now and we're still here and we're still growing, it is such a testament to this community and where we are. And as soon as this bear market can end, I think the sky is the limit for everyone on this call and everyone that will be on this call going forward in the future. Thank you so much for your participation. We'll be posting the links through various channels to make sure you have access to everything and anything that was discussed here today. Hopefully you are inspired. Hopefully you are confident and committed as always. And as we look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you all for joining. And we will come back soon with even more community innovations sooner than you can possibly imagine. Thank you all. Have a great day.